everyone. I hope you're all so well. I hope you're all doing so good. This is officially my birth story. I can't believe I'm actually doing this. I feel like I'm going to get emotional just saying that. Yeah, I'm here to run through my birth story with you guys. And heads up, obviously I'm going to call it like positive induction birth story. Because to me it was a positive induction story. I mean, to others that you might think, God, no, that's not positive. But to me it was. The birth was positive. I don't regret anything about it. And yeah, I wouldn't have changed it or had it any other way. So to me it's positive. And yeah, it was just the best experience. And I feel like I'm so in my element at the moment. And I feel so content. I know it sounds so cringy, but I feel so content in my life. And like basically the past week has basically been probably the best week of my life. I got emotional, I got all upset saying to Ryan about it last night. I think he's sick of me getting emotional. But yeah, I really hope you're gonna like this video for those who are interested and for those who have followed along on my pregnancy journey. To start off with, I'm not gonna be showing baby's face on my videos and stuff. I just don't want to do that, so I will show you the back of her. This is Ava Brooke Kelly. She was £8.8. Obviously, and I had her at 38 weeks 2 days. So obviously, if I'd gone the full term and not been induced, she probably would have been quite a bit bigger. But I still don't think she would have been that bad. Yes, and she came into the world on the 23rd of November. So I actually was in hospital from the Thursday to the Sunday, so quite a few days, but obviously I'm going to run through that all now. So to start with, obviously for those who have followed along, you'll know, but for those who haven't, I was booked to get induced 38 weeks due to me having gestational diabetes, and I think they were worried because she was going to be a big baby, and obviously she was going to be my first baby as well. So I didn't have a problem with that. Like I was happy to have her earlier. So yes, we were booked in on the Thursday. So you have to call up in the morning and they tell you a time slot to come in. So we were told to come in at midday. And I was so grateful because I was sort of expecting them to be like, oh no, the beds are fully like packed and booked. You might have to come in the next day and stuff like this. But anywho, went in there at midday. All was good. Like had some midwives come like take my blood pressure, all that jazz, you know. Just do some checks and stuff, and they basically explained to me that they're going to induce me by a propest, whatever it is, prostaglandin propest, which is something I'm going to be terrible with all these terms, something they sort of stick in you, and it's supposed to, I think, soften the cervix, and sort of basically prepare it to open and dilate and whatever, but you have to have it in for 24 hours, so I wasn't actually going in with the impression that I was going to have that. I thought I was going to have Diazepam S. I don't know what the big difference is between it. I think you just don't have to have it in for as long as the prostaglandin. But yeah, anywho, I was fine with that. So I had that put in. It was uncomfortable personally, I found. But the midwife was really sweet and obviously nice about it all. So put that in, and to be fair, within not long, I think it was so about 5:30, so about 5 hours after being there, I basically started getting contractions. Obviously more intense, more frequent. They weren't unbearable or anything. They were definitely comfortable. But I could just tell that I was having quite a few, you know. So yes, so I was having them. And obviously the midwives were still coming around to monitor me and stuff like this, but it ended up that I started having too many contractions. And basically more than 4 in 10 minutes is classed as too much. And so obviously I was having at least 5 every 10 minutes. So quite a lot and consistently. So obviously they kept monitoring me just to check that baby's heart rate was okay. And it was okay basically, but I think they were just worried because I was having so many. So they ended up deciding to take it out. And obviously my contractions slowed down and all this, and so that was sort of all overnight. This was happening as well. Whilst we're on the subject of that night, Thursday night, obviously we stayed on a ward where obviously you get induced and stuff, but it's the ward before you sort of get taken to delivery suite. And obviously you're sharing the whole room with loads of other people. There's just curtains obviously around your little section, and there was a couple, and they were in like this bit opposite us, and obviously bear in mind there's like about 4 or 5 couples of us like in this same room, and this bloke who was obviously with a woman who was about to give birth, he was like falling asleep in this chair and snoring. I'm not even joking, I've never heard that kind of snoring before. Like, it was so loud. It was like, honestly, I can't explain it. It was terrible, like so bad. Like, he was so loud, it was awful. Like, none of us could get any sleep. People were like, literally, like, Ryan had like his big metal bottle, and he was like banging it against the radiator to make a big noise to almost try and scare him, to hopefully wake him up and stuff. He wouldn't wake. The girl that was obviously with him was just like ignoring the fact that he was doing all this snoring, not saying nothing to him to shut up. So all of us were obviously getting pissed off and stuff, and there was another bloke in another bit, and he literally went in to their bit and was like, mate, can you try and like, can you shush? And he wasn't waking up, he was just snoring. He literally, nothing was waking him up at all. A midwife and someone else also went in and was like, you need to stop, like, you're literally keeping everyone awake and no one could get any sleep. And it was honestly terrible, like literally so bad, like it was awful. But anywho, yeah, so we get on to the next morning. It's a Friday morning. Midwife came in and she was like, look, we're gonna have to get a doctor to come in and he'll sort of tell you what the next stage is and what the next plan is, basically. So he came in and he was like, look, I think what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to, he basically was like, look, I don't know why they took it out, to be honest, because her heart rate was fine. Her heart rate wasn't dipping, she was fine with the contractions, so they should have just left it in after them having taken it out. Oh, and to add, the person that took it out was a male doctor. And this is the only bit of my birth story that I'm like, I think back to and I feel like a bit shit about. And I'm not saying it's his fault, but obviously the person that removed it was a doctor, a male doctor. And he, honestly, I felt so violated afterwards, after he'd taken it out, because it was so painful and uncomfortable. And I get that obviously men just generally would have bigger, thicker hands, basically, and stuff. So obviously getting examined and stuff, it's going to be a bit nicer being done by a woman than it is a man. But him taking it out, he literally just, sounds gross, but it just felt like he shoved his whole hand up there with no build up, nothing. And I literally was in tears as he was doing it. And after, I just felt so like, it makes me feel emotional. Like, I genuinely felt violated from the fact that I'd like just had obviously all the it just felt like his whole hand and arm was basically up my foo-foo, my vag, and it just was so uncomfortable. And even Ryan said that it looked like he did it so roughly, and it was just horrible and that. And so yeah, that was obviously not very nice. And obviously, so yeah, after that, then having another doctor come in the following morning and say, oh, they shouldn't have taken it out because she was absolutely fine, the baby. And I was just thinking, for fuck's sake, like, so he was then saying, look, we're probably going to have to put it back in. And I was just thinking, God, how much longer is this going to take? Do you know what I mean? Like, are they going to be putting it in, taking it out, putting it in, taking it out, and nothing's going to happen? Do you know what I mean? Like, how long will that go on for? And so, yeah, so we were sort of waiting around and all this. And then a senior midwife came into our little bit. And I was so grateful for her. She came in and she basically was like, do you know what? She's like, we're not going to put the thing back in. She's like, basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a very intense sweep. So obviously it's going to be, she was like, it's going to be uncomfortable and stuff. And, you know, just tell me if you need me to stop and all this. But basically she said she's going to do like a really in-depth sweep and like obviously touch my cervix. And I think she said something about she could touch obviously the protein and stuff that's around the cervix and sort of like, I don't know, move it around in there and that will start stuff, basically. So again, that was super uncomfortable. But I felt, that's the thing, I didn't get upset with her doing it because I think she prepared me for it. And obviously she said, you know, if there was a time that you want me to stop, then just let me know. So yeah, so she basically did this really in-depth sweep on me. And she was like, right, now get up. You need to go outside the hospital, go for like a big walk. You know, like going up and down the stairs. You need to get things going, basically. And it actually worked. I started getting really bad contractions. And yeah, like me and Ryan I'm not joking, we did 11,000 steps, so we did some massive walk. We went and got McDonald's. When I told my mum and dad that, I was like, I called them and I was like, I'm having contractions actually now. And they're like, where are you? I was like, oh, we're just in McDonald's eating like chicken strips and stuff like this. And they were like cracking up because they couldn't believe I was having contractions and eating McDonald's. But honestly, it really worked, obviously going for that big walk and stuff. So yeah, obviously they started intensifying, getting a lot worse. So that's why we then went back to the hospital, and they basically then, so we obviously went back to the hospital, and I think I must have got checked. I don't actually remember this. I don't know if this is right. I must have got checked, and I was basically 2 centimetres, which was great. So this at about 2 o'clock on the Friday, obviously I was checked. They told me that I was 2 centimetres, and that basically we're waiting to go to the delivery suite. Obviously, if my waters had popped, then they would have taken me to delivery suite straight away. But because they hadn't, obviously I had to just wait almost just until there was a room available and they could take me down there. My waters obviously didn't pop by themselves, so yeah, eventually we got taken around to delivery suite, and I thought, oh my god, like this is it, this is the bit, and like there's no turning back. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, I feel like getting upset. Oh my god. So yeah, obviously we went to delivery suite, and this was, so then we were obviously here Friday evening, got taken around. There was 2 midwives. There was obviously like a normal midwife, and then I think she must have had a student with her, and they put the needle thing in my wrist, like, I don't know, to take blood or whatever they do. It's that weird thing in my wrist. That was horrible. And not in a horrible way, because it was the student midwife doing it. She kept not being able to find my vein, and like, she was like sticking it down, and I could really feel it in my wrist. Like, it wasn't on my hand like normal, like there. It was on this here of my wrist. It was really uncomfortable. And then obviously they were like, okay, we're going to try and break your waters. And of course, obviously, so the student midwife was trying to do it. And bless her, obviously, like, she was really sweet. But obviously it was very uncomfortable anyway. And she kept trying to do it, and she couldn't pop my waters, and it took like quite a few goes, and eventually, obviously, the qualified midwife, if that makes sense, she ended up coming in and actually popping them. And bit TMI, but there was absolutely loads, like, I'm not joking. Every time I was having a contraction, there was just like loads of water coming out every time. It was awful. It just felt like I was wetting myself constantly, basically. So that was an experience. And then of course that is when contractions and stuff ramped up like really badly. I think I had a shower, I came out, and obviously I was having these contractions, and I was thinking like, oh my god, kind of thing. And so I think they checked me again. They started getting really, really bad, like to the point where I was thinking like, oh my freaking god. And obviously, bearing in mind, I'd said to Ryan before obviously going to birth, I was like, I don't want to get an epidural because I just want to try and avoid doing that. I want to just try and use the gas and air, and all this natural crap that obviously everyone goes on about. And they checked me, and I was 5 centimetres, and I was like going for it, and I was just thinking, like, I literally was, I don't know how to explain a contraction, but when they get to that point, I was just like, I can't. I was crying. Like, I was literally crying. Like, I can't do it. Like, it's too painful. And like, every time they was coming out, I was crying. And I was just like, Ryan, I can't. Like, I really, really can't. It's too painful. I was like, the gas and air for me wasn't doing nothing. I don't know if I just wasn't doing it properly, but it just did nothing for me at all. It didn't take any pain away at all. I was like, Ryan, I really want an epidural. I'm not going to be able to do this. Like, and get to 10 centimetres and all this. And obviously he was all like, you said you didn't want it and all this, and bless him, obviously he doesn't know what I'm going through, but he was like, no, you can do it without it and all this. And I was like, no, I just can't, please don't make me. And all this, obviously all the emotions that are running, bearing in mind, like, bless him, obviously he hadn't slept. Basically he stayed with me obviously every night, but he hadn't slept because obviously that bloke snoring, and then obviously that evening he didn't basically get any sleep either, so he was like running on no sleep as well. So I think he was just like, yeah, bless him, shattered and everything. But anyway, so I ended up getting an epidural. The anaesthetist came in and like gave that to me, which it was absolutely fine. I didn't feel the needle going at all. Ryan said it was absolutely huge and it looked disgusting. I didn't feel nothing. It was absolutely fine. And the anaesthetist, oh God. He was so lovely, like really like happy and like jolly and stuff, but so kind. And obviously, yeah, he put the epidural in, and obviously you get given like this clicker thing because you can up the dosage, if that makes sense. So say if the epidural isn't really getting rid of the pain for you, you can up it every 20 minutes to sort of mask the pain and stuff. Obviously not enough so you can overdose, if that makes sense. But you sort of have control over it, and I really liked that because then I was using it in the sense to take away a bit of the pain, but I wasn't doing it so my legs were numb. I was doing it so I could still feel that I was having contractions. I could still move my legs, but it was just taking a little bit of that edge away, which I think is actually really good because it's not then like I was numb. I was fully expecting that when I had the epidural I'd be fully numb from like the waist down and not being able to feel nothing. And that's a load of rubbish basically. So then we was basically all through that night, obviously I was on the epidural, things were happening and stuff. I think we waited another 4 hours. So this must have been like early hours of the morning as well. And that's what I'm saying, like poor Ryan, bless him. So they were like, yeah, we'll keep you on this for 4 hours and then we'll see where you're at. It got to the 4 hour mark and they checked me and I was fully dilated. So then it obviously came to the point of me pushing. So I sort of got in like a seated position. The beds have like different levels. So I was in this like seated position because I wanted to sort of be like that. A bit like how I'm sitting now, my legs are like up here. Yeah, so I got in that position. Obviously, every time I was having a contraction, I was pushing and pushing and pushing, and obviously giving it all my might and stuff. Probably looking like I was about to burst a vein and stuff. And yeah, I could feel her like coming further down, if that makes sense. I could feel all that. Obviously, really giving it some. And then the woman obviously checked me, and she was like, right. She was like, I was like, I can feel her pushing, but obviously I think they were basically, I've been pushing for an hour and they were like, right, you've been pushing for an hour, we need to just check what baby's doing and stuff. And it turns out that little Ava had decided to turn in my stomach and face my side. So I wasn't going to be able to basically get her out by pushing the way, like how I was and stuff. So they then obviously came to me and were like, look, we're going to have to take you to theatre and either we'll do a vaginal delivery hopefully still, but we'd have to use forceps or the Ventouse. And worst case, obviously, we'd have to give you a cesarean. And so that was very scary. I think after all the pushing, all that, the whole night being awake and stuff, going through all that, and obviously then hearing that you got to go to theatre, it was a little bit like, oh my God. Do you know what I mean? Like I was shitting it. I'm not going to lie, I was really nervous because I was just, I don't know, I was just scared, and I don't know why I was scared about, say, having the forceps and stuff. And I did say to the women, I was like, look, I know that you have to do things a certain way, but I was like, if I can have a preference, can we try and use the Ventouse instead of the forceps? That was just my personal preference. So obviously they got me all dressed, and obviously we went down to the theatre. And obviously, so bearing in mind, this is now Saturday morning, early hours. And oh my God, the team, again, I feel like I'm going to cry. The theatre team was so amazing. Like, I cannot explain. Like, obviously the anaesthetist bloke was there. I had about 2 or 3 midwives in the room as well who were also amazing and lovely. And there was 2 women who were obviously actually doing everything down there. So obviously I got numbed and stuff, so I couldn't feel anything like how you would for a cesarean, because they were preparing me for in case I had to have a cesarean. Obviously had my legs up and stuff. I started getting all that shaking, you know, you're all like and like shaking on the bed and stuff. Obviously I said it's normal and that, but I could tell as well that obviously Ryan next to me was absolutely shitting it and completely like bricking it and stuff, because it is quite a scary, intense environment in there, I think, with all the bright lights and stuff, and it's just a bit like, what the hell is about to happen, do you know what I mean? So yeah, obviously he was all numbed down. I had my legs put up in the stirrups, and I basically, they basically told me when I was going to be having a contraction, and I then had to push like how I was in labour. Obviously it's weird though because I can't really feel anything, so I was just trying to sort of go off, I think like what I was doing was right, you know what I mean? Like I was just sort of thinking like, I think this is like right, me pushing, even though I couldn't quite feel it. And they used the Ventouse, which I'd requested instead. And I think I pushed obviously a couple of times and they pulled her out sort of so far, if that makes sense. And then the lady who was obviously dealing with everything down there, she did have to cut me and do an episiotomy, I think it is, or whatever it's called. So she did cut me down there. Again, obviously I didn't feel it at the time, so I didn't care. And then I did obviously a few more pushes. I managed to get the head out with the Ventouse. And she arrived, like, literally, like, not long after, obviously, yeah, like, probably, like, a few seconds after that, and I just, yeah, and again, oh my god, oh, again, I said, thinking back to it, they, like, plonked her, obviously, on my chest, and, yeah, like, I just remember laying there, so I was absolutely, like, bawling my eyes out, of course. I think even Ryan was crying, and, I was just like, oh my god, like, you know, it was just so surreal, like, having her there. I was a bit like, I can't believe you're real, and like, like, you're my baby and stuff, like, it's just so crazy. I think after all that time of being pregnant, that, like, she's here, and that's, you know, like, you're, like, this is our daughter, like, I can't literally express, but yeah, so, obviously that all happened, we was all feeling emotional, and it's so funny, obviously the midwives are like, do you guys have a phone so we can take photos and that, and Ryan hadn't brought his phone or my phone into theatre, so all the women had to like take photos on their phones and then send it to us afterwards, bless them. But they were all honestly so amazing, the staff and that, and like my placenta came out really quick afterwards and stuff, and obviously they stitched me back up and I had 2 stitches down below, and yeah, like it just honestly was so amazing. Everyone was so supportive in the room, and like I don't know if it's just because they could see how nervous I was, but they were literally just, the woman down below, she was literally smiling like the whole time, and like we were just saying, like she was literally asking us where we live, how long we've been together and stuff, like honestly, like having a full-blown conversation, obviously, whilst this is all going on and that, and everyone was just so amazing. I just can't express, the words, but so obviously we had her, and then obviously we got taken into like another room, because I was obviously still kind of numb down on my legs and stuff. I could feel stuff. It was sort of like a pins and needly kind of feeling. But obviously I couldn't get up to do things, so obviously Ryan had to like feed her first and obviously change her nappy and stuff, but I thought that was really sweet and lovely for him to do. And then obviously we weren't there for very long actually, like we must have only been in that little room for a couple of hours. It's almost like a recovery room probably from having been in theatre. But yeah, we were there for a couple of hours, and then I got wheeled to the birthing suite, which is where obviously once you've had a baby you stay there for however long before you go home basically. And so yeah, got taken there. It was absolutely amazing. Again, for anyone, like before going into hospital, so I had her at East Surrey Hospital, and loads of people had moaned about it and said how it was such a shit place to give birth and that the aftercare was awful and all this, and that really worried me, but I can 100% say that my experience was completely different, and that the whole birth, the aftercare from the midwives once we'd had her and stuff was amazing. Like I literally couldn't have asked for better, and I could not fault it. So for anyone who is like looking at what people say about the hospitals they're going to give birth to, please do not think that that's how it's going to go, because I think everyone's obviously has a different experience, and mine was definitely far from what people had been saying. So yeah, obviously you got taken to the birthing centre, and obviously you get to have, obviously I had like a shower and stuff, you get given pain relief because obviously from like your stitches and stuff. Again, you're in like a big room and there's like curtains and there's other people around. Yeah, but it was honestly absolutely fine, and obviously, you know, I actually really enjoyed it because you're there and all you can do, like me and Ryan, all we could do was sort of be in the moment with her, start feeding her, start changing her, like learning then things that obviously seem simple now, but obviously you sort of trapped there, just you guys, and in a way I think that's nice and is sort of needed. So I was told that I'd have to stay there for 24 hours, so I ended up staying overnight obviously. And Ryan actually couldn't stay. Actually no, I think he could, but I'd said to him that I want him to go home and like be able to, and have a sleep and stuff, because he hadn't slept. Like when I had the epidural, I was being able to sort of close my eyes for periods of time, whereas he literally was sitting in chairs obviously most of the time and hadn't slept for about 2 or 3 nights, whatever it was. So I said go home, like get some sleep, come back tomorrow morning and stuff. And actually it was fine. She was absolutely fine throughout the night. I wasn't worried and stuff. I think because, you know, you're surrounded by like midwives as well, so if there was anything wrong, like you could just go like ask for help. But yeah, and that Saturday evening, my mum, dad and my sisters came to meet her and stuff, and that was really lovely as well. And obviously, yeah, 24 hours after that, we were able to be discharged. Obviously, we had to stay in 24 hours because we had to make sure that her blood sugar levels were okay, obviously with me having gestational diabetes during pregnancy. And we were both cleared and absolutely fine, which is such a nice feeling to not feel I have to be well, I'm like, you know, I should be healthy, but it was very hard, like cutting out certain stuff. So it's quite nice to know that I don't have it anymore and that she's absolutely fine too. So yeah, like that is my story. And obviously we've been home just over a week now. So she is a week and 1 day old. When you see this, she'll probably be about 2 weeks. Yeah, and we've honestly, like Rye's been off obviously for the week, and we've just had the most amazing week. We've had obviously lots of visitors and stuff that have come to see us. But we've also been out. We've been and cut down our tree. For Christmas I've decorated. It's been a very busy week, and actually he's gone back to work today, but like I felt fine, to be fair. I think because we've gone out and got out together, I feel quite confident being on my own and stuff with her anyway. So yeah, he's gone back to work, but he definitely didn't want to, bless him. So yeah, that is my birth story, guys. So yeah, I mean, take what you want from it. To me, I mean, other people might think, God, like that wasn't positive because you were induced and taken out, then you almost, like, technically I could have just had that sweep and I probably could have gone into labour. But then I thought maybe not, or maybe having the pessary in for a bit had helped. And like I say, yeah, I wouldn't change any of it. So for me it is positive birth story, and I hope that my story can help any of those who are watching, probably who are yet to go into labour and stuff, and just honestly just don't stress. Like I hate the fact that everyone is so hooked on this natural birth malarkey stuff, because I was, and I don't know why. Like there's all this hype. It's almost like, oh, if you can just give birth on gas and air, like you're freaking amazing. But anyone else who doesn't, who has a cesarean, who uses epidural or anything like that, it's almost like, well, no, you haven't had a good natural birth. You're not like, it's not like, you know what I mean? Like you're not as good and stuff like that. And I just think, do you know what? Like shut the frick up. But like, he's still giving birth. He's still like bringing this little human into the world. Do you know what I mean? Like no matter how it's done. And actually, if the pain relief is there, if there's pain relief offered to help you cope with unbearable pain, then why wouldn't you take it? Do you know what I mean? Like I don't know, I'm just sick of all the natural thing. And again, I've already said that, do you know what, next time when we have a child, I'd 100% say, yeah, I want epidural straight away. No doubt about it. I'm not going through that pain again. I wouldn't be able to, and the epidural generally helps. It gives you that bit of time to rest. And like I say, I dilated really quickly on having the epidural and stuff. So, you know, like, it's just everyone's different, guys, and I think you can't. Who is anyone to judge anyone else's birth story, you know? So, yes. Again, I hope this has been helpful. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Yeah, I'm officially now a mother to a little girl. And please let me know if there's any videos that you'd want me to do. Obviously, any like newborns specific ones, or I think I'm going to do a postpartum haul, one of my videos. I thought maybe I'll do a hospital bag and postpartum essentials video, because there's some stuff that I've been using postpartum that have 100% helped me. And yeah, I think like that would be very helpful to some people. Maybe like a day in the life with a newborn. Just, yeah, if anyone's got any requests and stuff, like just drop it down in the comments and I can get on with them, you know. But again, yeah, I really, really hope you've enjoyed listening to my birth story, guys. And I wish anyone all the best for whoever is, you know, going into labour or just had a baby and stuff. Like, you're amazing, and like, please don't let anyone else's experience or anyone else's opinion take away from the fact that you're giving birth to a beautiful human being. And like, you're just freaking amazing. Like, just don't let anyone like tell you any different. I think once you've had a kid, you sort of think, I mean, I didn't really give a crap what people thought anyway, but even more so now that I've had a kid, like, you are freaking amazing. Like, I feel so happy and like more in love with, oh, this sounds so cringy, I feel more in love with myself since giving birth, because I'm just amazed that obviously your body can do it. And like, I absolutely love my postpartum body, and I know that sounds weird, I've got like a wobbly belly and stuff, but I freaking love it. Like, I know it sounds weird, but I absolutely do. But again, thank you so much, guys, for anyone who's watching, all the support and love that I've had on my videos. And yeah, I just thank you so much to everyone who's subscribed recently and it's helping my channel grow. Like, I absolutely love doing it, and I'm going to obviously keep doing it all. And yeah, I just love you all so much. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Love you all so much. Thanks so much, guys.